Until not so very long ago, you were but one of the many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea, but for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter, you travelled the realm, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Y'shtola that the Scions would benefit from your aid, and no sooner had you joined us than you personally bested Ifrit. You've achieved a great deal in a short time, and won fame in so doing. Alas, fame does not come without a price, as you'll soon discover. We have guests, or rather, you have guests. Beg pardons? Ah, Lady Minfilia, radiant as always. I'm given to understand that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero into their midst. I'm here on behalf of the Maelstrom, Grand Company of Limsa to offer said hero a place of honour within our ranks. As you can see, your recent exploits have garnered you the attentions of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organisation would have Ifrit's Bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of the high regard for you. I find myself wondering how word of her deeds spread so quickly. That the immortal flame should know of her triumph is to be expected, but what of the other grand companies? Eep! Your reputation precedes you, mistress. 'Tis no ordinary woman who can face a primal and emerge the victor. The Order of the Twin Adder has need of valiant women such as you. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twelveswood. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you, mistress. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. A woman of your talent belongs with the immortal flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Uldar. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend, as do many others in Limsa. Long before the rest of Eorzea took note, your name was well known to us, owing to your valorous deeds on behalf of our citizens. It's only natural that we would want you for the Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together let us see the grand vessel of Limsa to the shores of glory. Lady Minfilia. Very well. Though I'm quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation would help you clarify your thoughts on this matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are all-encompassing organisations empowered to call upon the martial, economic and technological resources of their respective city-states in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organisations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Limsa, the Order of the Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Uldar. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You'll be charged with its defence and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you'll be furnished with various rewards, some of which may prove useful to you in your other endeavours. If you're agonising over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your allegiance at a later date, you're entitled to do so, and yet I concede that it is no small choice for you to face. A thought occurs to me. You will of course recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I'm given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing these addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? A fine suggestion. You're as wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Very well, let her hear our leaders speak, then return here with her decision. We eagerly await your answer. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed and not best suited to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a Grand Company nevertheless. While the promise of rewards is enticing in itself, it's not the only benefit. You're possessed of great power, and with it you're capable of doing untold good, yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet however vigilant you are but one woman. In the midst of a grand company, however, you will be one woman amongst many, a friend amongst friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organisation need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The 12 know that we will have need of it in the days ahead. The Grand Company seek to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect that you'll be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It'll allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. Eorzea is changing, and you will have the power to shape it anew. None can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there's naught we cannot achieve. Now is the time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Taru. She'll apprise you as to where and when the remembrance services are due to take place. Sorry about all the attention you're getting. I might have sung your praises a little too loudly, and often, to a few too many people. Next time I'll be sure to hold my tongue, literally if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know when and where the remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of the Twin Adder, will hold the first of the 3 services, and Elder Seedseer Can E Senna will deliver her dress at Miketo's Amphitheatre. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organisational challenges involved in assembling all the involved parties, it's possible that the order of the services might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next you'll need to go to Uldar, where Flame General Raban Aldin will be dressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumoured there's to be a special guest. How exciting! Last but not least, you must make your way to the state room in Limsa, where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Merlvid Blurfuswin will be giving her address. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry Xanthael and he'll admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the remembrance service suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order, though with your record of impeccable timing and good luck, the schedule may well change in favour of your preferred travel plans. Farewell.
I lost my son to the calamity.
The 3 Seedseers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body. Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hure and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seedseer. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hure and Elysian. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable, so beleaguered from within and without. It is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk
pox
the
on the
high
bloody
roads without
Ixal.
fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you, join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity, we must think of the children.
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the forest.
All the elementals!
If you'll permit me, Alfie no. And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
The Gridanians are unfortunate enough to have to contend with two beast tribes. The Ixal are unquestionably the more troublesome, being of a naturally warlike disposition, and want to summon their bloodthirsty primal Garuda. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been on friendly terms with the Gridanians, until recently at least. Alas, they've grown aloof, a change observed at roughly the time they summoned the primal Ramu. The Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict a last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, you may be assured that they do so in self-defence. As for the Sylphs, they are as yet bound by peace treaty, though one longest how long it will be until it's broken. The Twelveswood were grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, it will put an end to their woes. Yet how long will that take? Centuries, I'd wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal will continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to an all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need all the help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove to them then?
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamo herself!
And Roban as well.
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore.
Hurrah! Roban!
Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold, where by the grace and glory of Nalthal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people.
Ya for Ul'dah!
Together we are one.
Your grace.
Raubon? People of Ul'dah, I, Nanimo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Ul'dah, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the Inferno, for we are, by fire, reborn! Forsooth?
The time is now!
I fancy meeting you again.
The Uldans have a long history of conflict with the Emulsia, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you have encountered them. The Uldans do not shy from confrontation. If aught threatens their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. So have they dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his flames each time he is stoked to life. Yet he's but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Garleans have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Ul'dah has no clear policy on how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless, and even assuming they had the coin, resources will ever be finite. Which brings me back to the subject of Ifrit. It's been observed that the Emulsia are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Uldans send their forces to smite the Primal, and though they invariably succeed, each victory is brought with blood. It's a war of attrition, which they cannot well sustain. Small wonder then that the immortal flames are eager to recruit more members. At such a desperate hour, an adventurer of your experience would be a most welcome addition to their ranks.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom Standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilthier's bloody executioners. And together, we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage. Yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom, much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The Sahagin have risen?
While the mines of Ogomoro spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now, the Curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us, one bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the calamity has reopened twixt pirate and maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard, and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves, till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Gather the lads!
Oh, where's me cutlass?
I'll follow ye to the 7 hells, Admiral!
Fancy meeting you again.
As the Admiral mentioned in her address, Limsa Lominsa is plagued by 2 beast tribes. The first are the fish-like Sahagin, worshippers of the primal Leviathan. The second are the kobolds, who dwell beneath the earth and take the primal Titan for their god. As if the beast tribe's presence weren't troublesome enough, the Garleans have also chosen to erect a fortress right in the Limsons' backyard, and that is to say naught of eternal strife. As a nation of pirates, there's no end to the blood feuds between the various factions, and while they fight amongst themselves, the Garleans whet their blades and watch. If the Limsons are to have any hope of withstanding the Empire, they must first resolve their own affairs. Differences must be set aside, and the primal threat dealt with once and for all. To this end, I expect that they will soon take decisive action against the beast tribes. Mark my words, the Maelstrom standard will be drenched a deeper shade of crimson ere long. That a capable adventurer like you would be a valuable addition to their crew is beyond question. But will you sail with the Admiral? This is Minfilia. You're well, I hope. Would I be correct in thinking that the final remembrance service has now concluded? A moment ago, you say? What a coincidence. Jesting aside, I trust you remember our guests from the Grand Companies. Well, delighted though we are to have them here at the Waking Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense any longer. In short, hurry back. Welcome back. Were the Grand Company leaders' words as illuminating as you had hoped? Each nation is beset with problems. I trust you see now why your services are in such high demand. Would that there were more of you, but you must be tired from your journey. Why don't you rest a while and take a moment to reflect on your decision? Once your mind is made up, pray give the Grand Company officers your answer.
The gods only know what grand company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies, as though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral era warranted scarcely a mention.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alizé, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
My lady! We are to escort you!
Hope does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
How was the Admiral's speech? But you need not explain. That you stand before me now is answer enough. That's the spirit, lass. With allies like you, how much stronger is our crew? Let us brave the seas together. Now the choice is made, it's time to add your name to our rolls. Make your way to Maelstrom Command, back in Limsa. 'Tis up the upper decks, in case you've forgotten. I'll send word to our personnel officer to expect you. The duties of a Maelstrom soldier can be both arduous and challenging, but I promise you, you'll not regret this choice. May your passage be swift and your bearings sure. Hail, adventurer, what business have you at Maelstrom Command? I'm here to enlist if you'll have me. Well, they're well met. Welcome to the Maelstrom. I'll need a name for the role, so... Wait a moment, you're her, aren't you? Aye, you're just as our recruitment officer described. Glad to have you aboard, friend. Now, before I can accept your oath, you must be made aware of several... Sir! What is it, Private? And this had better be important. So, we've received a report from a lookout in Lower Lanosia, sir. Imperial forces have fired upon a Highwind Skyways airship. The vessel is in a bad way, sir, and appears to be banking for an emergency landing in Cedarwood. Cedarwood? Damn it, we have no troops available in that area. The bulk of our infantry is bogged down on the coast, skirmishing with the fishbacks. This is highly irregular, but I fear your first duty in service to the Maelstrom must needs be unofficial. If our man in Lower Nonossia is correct, the airship will come down in territory crawling with Imperial scouts. If there are any survivors, we must reach them before the Galleons do. Make haste to Cedarwood, locate the airship, and if any of its occupants are alive, make sure they come to no further harm. We'll see about swearing you in upon your return.